Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. Amy and I had been married 6 years. The kind of marriage that didn't need fireworks, just rhythm. Morning coffee routines, silent agreements about who grabs groceries, quiet Sunday nights with old movies. We weren't passionate, but we were stable. At least, I thought we were. Until around March. That's when I noticed the shift. Not a big one, just things. Her phone never left her hand. She started saying long meetings more often. Weekends suddenly filled with project deadlines I'd never heard of before. And the way she smiled, it was mechanical, like she was auditioning for something she wasn't invested in. I didn't say anything for a while. I watched. I kept track. Then one Tuesday, I left the office early. No warning, no heads up. I stopped by a deli, grabbed her favorite wine, and picked up dinner. Lemon garlic salmon, roasted potatoes, the kind of meal we hadn't shared in weeks without the TV on. I pulled into the driveway a little after 5:30. Her car was already there. When I walked in, the house was quiet. No music, no TV, just that heavy kind of silence. Amy was in the kitchen, facing the sink, phone in one hand, texting. She jumped slightly when she saw me. "You're home early," she said, turning fast. "Wanted to surprise you. Figured we could eat in. Just us." Her mouth curved into a smile, but it didn't touch her eyes. "That's nice." We sat down around 6. I poured the wine. She barely touched hers. I tried to talk. Asked about her day, her week, her boss. She gave clipped answers, glanced at her phone twice, excused herself to the bathroom once, phone in hand. By dessert, I knew I wasn't imagining it. Something was off, way off. But I still didn't ask. I was waiting for her to bring it up. I wanted her to feel safe enough to say the wrong thing, because I was ready to hear it and do something about it. After dinner, she offered to clean up, a move she usually avoided. I let her. I sat at the table, sipping wine, watching her move around the kitchen like someone who needed to stay busy. Her phone was propped up beside the sink, screen face up. A message came in. I caught it out of the corner of my eye, just enough to read the first part of the preview. "Still thinking about last night. You were unreal." Amy froze for half a second, then swiped the screen down like it never happened. She didn't know I saw. I kept my expression flat, drank the rest of the wine, said nothing. But right then, the room shifted. I wasn't her husband anymore. I was the audience, watching a bad play unravel. She turned back to me a minute later, wiping her hands on a dish towel, trying to sound casual. "All set," she said. "Want to put something on?" I shrugged. "Sure." We sat on the couch and put on some show she liked. Light, forgettable. She laughed at the right spots, even leaned into me at one point. But it felt like watching a stranger pretend to be my wife. I didn't touch her. Later that night, while she was brushing her teeth, I walked into the living room and picked up her phone from the couch. Locked, of course. She'd changed the passcode last month. Told me it was because her job had new security protocols. Sure. I stared at the black screen for a while, then put it down exactly how I found it. I wasn't going to snoop. Not yet. I wasn't going to beg either. I went to bed before she came out, laid there with my eyes open, breathing slow like I was conserving energy for something bigger. Because now I knew. She hadn't just drifted. She'd crossed the line, and all I needed was for her to admit it. She walked into the bedroom a few minutes later, drying her hands on a towel, paused by the door, then said, "Can we talk?" I didn't blink. "Sure." She leaned on the doorframe, arms folded. "I slept with my coworker last night." Just like that. No build-up, no apology. She said it like she was reciting a weather report. I let the words hang for a beat. Then I said, "Congratulations." Her mouth opened slightly. She blinked, confused. "That's all you're going to say?" I sipped the coffee. "Seems like you already said everything." Amy's whole posture shifted. "Sean, I'm trying to be honest. I didn't want to hide it anymore. You deserve that much." I nodded once. Right. Honesty. I let the silence stretch. She thought she was going to watch me break. She thought I'd yell, accuse, ask if he meant anything. But I just kept sipping. "His name's Daniel," she added. "It just happened." I stayed quiet, letting her sit in it. Her voice softened. "I didn't plan it, Sean. You've been distant. I felt like we weren't connecting." I almost laughed at that. Right, so you connected with Daniel instead. I'm not proud of it, she said quickly. But you did it anyway. She looked like she was trying to find the emotional high ground, like this whole confession earned her points, like the words "I'm being honest" would cancel out what she did. I thought maybe we could work through it, she offered. Maybe talk to someone. I stood, picked up my empty cup, and walked it to the sink. She turned. Sean? I didn't look at her. You wanted honesty, I said. Good. Now you'll get it. And then I walked out the door. I drove with no destination, just needed the air, the quiet. I ended up in a park a few miles out, the kind of place with empty benches and older folks walking tiny dogs. I sat, stared at nothing, and pulled out my phone. I wasn't thinking about forgiveness. I was thinking about consequences. I didn't go home that night. Instead, I checked into a hotel across town. Nothing fancy, just a room with a lock, silence, and no memories tied to it. The next morning, I made the call. Karen Mitchell, a friend from college, now a lawyer who specialized in corporate investigations and private divorces. We'd stayed in touch over the years. She answered on the second ring. Sean? I need to talk. Privately. She paused. Is this about Amy? It is now. We met that afternoon in her office. I gave her the basic rundown, keeping it clinical. Karen listened like a prosecutor, eyes sharp, hands still. When I mentioned Daniel, Amy's coworker, something clicked in her expression. Which firm does he work for? Same as Amy. They're on the same design team. She nodded slowly. Does the company have a policy on workplace relationships? I already knew the answer. Strict no fraternization between direct collaborators. It's in their code of conduct. Good, she said, scribbling something. We're not just talking divorce then. I leaned forward. How do we make this clean? Start documenting. Everything. Dates, messages, receipts. Anything that shows the timeline. I left her office and went straight back to the hotel. Logged into the old shared cloud account we'd set up years ago. She must have forgotten it was still connected. Within minutes, I found what I needed. Synced screenshots, saved images, even message previews. Daniel's name came up more than once. Karen had said, the more organized it is, the faster I can move. So I sat down at the desk, opened a blank folder, and started building. First, the evidence. The message from the night she slipped. The photo with Daniel's name on her screen. Dates that didn't line up with the excuses she gave. Then I looked him up. Daniel Harrison. Took 5 minutes to find his fiance's profile. Emily Carter. Real estate agent. Engaged 3 months ago. Smiled like she trusted people. I didn't send a long message. Just attached the screenshots and wrote, You deserve to know who you're marrying. No commentary, no opinion, just the facts. I scheduled it for 8 a.m. and shut the laptop. By morning, there were 2 replies waiting. One from Karen. Got it. I'll begin the paperwork. And one from Emily. It just said, Thank you. I had no idea. Amy wanted honesty. She was about to get it. 3 days after I left, I texted Amy. Told her I wanted to talk. One last real conversation. No yelling, no spinning. She jumped at the offer, agreed fast, too fast. I told her I'd come by and bring dinner, something simple. She replied with a smile emoji, like that made things lighter. I brought takeout from her favorite Thai place. She was already dressed when I walked in, hair curled, soft sweater, that perfume she used to wear when we were still trying. You look good, I said, flat. She smiled a little too wide. Thanks. I wasn't sure if this would be weird. Oh, it's weird, I said, setting down the food. But I'm here. We ate on the couch. She asked about work, made small talk like we were on some awkward first date. I let her lead, just watched the show play out. When we were done, she leaned forward, voice soft. I meant what I said the other day. I was trying to be honest. Yeah, I nodded. I remember. She hesitated. I don't know if Daniel means anything. I needed something that felt different. You and I cut in, are done. She blinked. You don't even want to talk about it? I already did, I said. Months ago. In my head. While you were working late. While you stopped kissing me back. I've had all the conversations already. Amy looked like she wanted to cry, or fight, or both. But I kept my voice steady. I talked to your HR office this morning. Sent over a polite summary of the relationship between you and Daniel. Same team, same client. I didn't embellish, just reported. Her face dropped. You didn't? I did, and I sent your texts to someone else too. Emily Carter, Daniel's fiancée. She covered her mouth. Sean, you wanted honesty, so I'm giving it. Not in screams, in consequences. She stared at me like she didn't recognize the man in front of her anymore. That made two of us. Amy's lawyer reached out 2 days later. Mediation. No surprise. Her side wanted damage control, not war. I agreed, not because I wanted to argue, because I wanted closure on paper. We met in a quiet office suite downtown, neutral beige walls, coffee machine humming in the corner, everything sterile and forgettable, which was exactly what I wanted this to become. Amy walked in looking like someone ready to plead a case. Black blazer, hair perfect, chin high. But I'd seen the cracks. The control was just for show. Her lawyer, a guy named Mitchell, sat beside her. Karen sat beside me, calm and focused. The mediator, an older woman named Donna, opened the session with a soft smile and a notepad. Let's begin. This isn't about blame. It's about resolution. Amy cleared her throat. Sean's trying to ruin my career. He sent private messages to my workplace and to someone who has nothing to do with our marriage. Donna turned to me. Is that accurate? Yes, I said without hesitation, and I stand by it. Amy's lawyer leaned forward. You do realize this could have legal implications if the intent was malicious. Karen spoke before I could. It wasn't. My client reported a clear violation of corporate policy. It's not malicious to tell the truth, especially when it involves active deceit, both personally and professionally. Donna nodded slowly. Let's stay focused. Amy, were you in a relationship with a coworker? Amy hesitated. Yes, but... Donna raised a hand. Then Sean didn't expose you. He revealed you. Silence. Amy's face tightened. I didn't think he'd do something like that. I looked at her evenly. No, you thought I'd stay quiet, that I'd swallow it to protect you, like always. She turned away, jaw clenched. Donna sighed. Let's proceed to the agreement. We'll settle the division today. Amy didn't fight it. Not anymore. Her posture collapsed halfway through the paperwork. When it was done, she signed with a shaky hand. I signed without flinching. The mediator collected the papers, clipped them into a folder, and said, It's over. Amy didn't say goodbye. She just walked out. And I didn't look back. I moved into a new place the following week, a one-bedroom apartment above a coffee shop. Nothing fancy, just quiet. The kind of quiet that didn't have a threat hiding behind it. No buzzing phone late at night. No forced laughter over dinner. No pretending everything was okay when it wasn't. Amy texted a few times. First, it was guilt. I know I hurt you. I wasn't thinking clearly. I made a mistake. Then, it was nostalgia. Remember when we used to sit on the balcony with wine and talk about stupid things? Then came frustration. You didn't have to burn everything down. I didn't answer any of them. She called once. I let it ring, watched it light up the screen, then fade away. Karen called a few days later. HR closed their internal review. Daniel's been terminated. Amy's been reassigned and flagged. I didn't ask for more. I didn't need more. I wasn't interested in how she spun the story to her coworkers. I wasn't curious about Daniel or what was left of his engagement. I had what I needed. Truth exposed. Damage earned. And silence. Finally, silence. That didn't feel like something was missing. A few months later, the divorce was finalized. I signed the documents without a second thought. No fanfare, no courtroom, just paperwork. 2 weeks after that, another envelope showed up. Same handwriting, no return address. Inside was a short note. I'm leaving the city. I thought if I disappeared, it would hurt less. But I know I did this. I'm sorry. I hope you find someone who deserves the way you loved me. I folded the letter once and placed it in the back of a drawer I barely opened. Not to remember her, but to remember what silence finally cost me, and what I gained when I stopped making excuses for it. 3 months later, I found myself standing outside the old house. It had been sold. New family, new paint, new name on the mailbox. But that wasn't why I stopped. I parked across the street and just watched it for a minute. Windows open, a swing set in the yard, Someone else's life moving on inside walls that used to echo with mine. And I didn't feel anything. No bitterness, no longing, just space. That night, I went back to my place and sat on the balcony with a drink. It was quiet, not the uncomfortable kind I used to brace for. It was earned. Still, Amy used to say she wanted honesty. She threw that word around like a shield, as if saying it made every action pure. But honesty isn't protection, it's exposure. And once it's out, you don't get to control what it does. She gave me her truth. Late, shattered, selfish. So I returned mine, calm, cold, and clean. Not to destroy her, just to end it. People ask me sometimes if I regret not trying harder. I don't, because the moment she said, "I slept with my coworker last night," I already knew the foundation was gone. And when I said, "Congrats," it wasn't sarcasm. It was clarity. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need payback. I just needed to stop losing pieces of myself to someone who thought truth had no price. So no, I didn't win anything. I just left with my dignity, my peace, and one final message. If you ask for honesty, be ready for the kind that doesn't come wrapped in comfort. Because when it lands like a closing door. And that sound? That's not cruelty. That's freedom. Thank you for watching.